My brother switched my heart medication as a joke. When I collapsed, my parents begged me to Omicron keep quiet. But when the toxicology report came back, the doctor's face turned pale. What they found in my system wasn't just a prank, it was attempted murder. I, 32M, never thought my own brother would try to kill me. But when the doctor showed me that toxicology report, everything I thought I knew about my family shattered. I was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect when I was 19. Nothing immediately life-threatening, but serious enough that I needed daily medication to keep my rhythm stable. My cardiologist had been clear: miss a dose and I'd feel it, miss several and I could go into cardiac arrest. The pills were small, white, unremarkable. I kept them in a weekly organizer on my bathroom counter and took them every morning without fail. My younger brother moved back home 6 months ago after losing his job in the city. He was 28, unemployed, and living rent-free in our parents' basement while I'd been supporting myself since college. Our parents treated him like he was going through a rough patch. I saw it differently. He'd always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong, while I was expected to be responsible and self-sufficient. The tension started small. He'd borrow my car without asking. He'd eat my groceries. He'd use my expensive cologne and deny it. When I confronted him, my parents told me to be more understanding. He was struggling, they said. He needed support, they said. I was being selfish, they said. 3 weeks ago, I started feeling off. My chest felt tight. My heart would race at random times, and I'd get dizzy standing up too quickly. I figured it was stress from work. I'd just been promoted to senior architect at my firm, and the workload had tripled. I pushed through it. Then one morning, I collapsed in my office bathroom. One moment I was washing my hands. The next I was on the floor with my coworkers shouting for someone to call an ambulance. I remember the fluorescent lights spinning above me and the sound of my own heartbeat thundering in my ears like a drum that had forgotten its rhythm. The ER doctor said I'd gone into an arrhythmia episode. My heart rate had spiked to over 200 beats per minute. They stabilized me, ran tests, and admitted me for observation. My cardiologist came by that evening, confused. My medication should have prevented this, he said. Was I taking it regularly? I swore I was. Every single morning. He ordered a full toxicology screen to check my medication levels. Standard procedure, he explained. Sometimes generic versions don't absorb properly, or there could be an interaction with something else. The results would take a few days. My parents visited that night. My mother cried and held my hand. My father stood at the foot of the bed, looking uncomfortable. My brother didn't come at all. When I asked where he was, my mother made an excuse about him having a migraine. I went home 2 days later with instructions to rest and a follow-up appointment scheduled. My brother was sitting on the couch playing video games when I walked in. He glanced up, asked if I was okay, and went back to his game before I could answer. Something about his tone felt wrong. Too casual. Too unconcerned. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the past few weeks in my mind. The symptoms had started around the time my brother moved back. I'd been taking my medication religiously. Unless I got out of bed and went to the bathroom. My pill organizer sat exactly where I always kept it. I opened the current day's compartment and stared at the small white pill inside. It looked right, but something made me open the trash can under the sink. Buried beneath tissue and dental floss, I found an empty blister pack for allergy medication. The generic kind. Small white pills. My hands started shaking. I dug deeper and found 3 more empty packs. Same brand. Same size. Same color as my heart medication. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I took photos of everything, put the empty packs in a plastic bag, and hid them in my closet. The next morning, I filled my pill organizer from my prescription bottle in my bedroom drawer, not the one in the bathroom. Then I waited. The call came from my cardiologist's office 3 days later. They needed me to come in immediately. The medical assistant's voice was tight and professional in a way that made my stomach drop. My doctor's face was grave when I sat down in his office. He had the toxicology report in front of him, and his finger was tapping against the paper in a nervous rhythm. He asked me again about my medication compliance. I told him about finding the allergy pill packages. His expression shifted from concern to something else. Something harder. The toxicology screen showed almost no trace of my heart medication in my system. Instead, they'd found high levels of antihistamine. But that wasn't what made him look pale. There were also traces of a beta blocker I'd never been prescribed. Not enough to kill me outright, but combined with the sudden cessation of my actual medication and the antihistamine masking, It had created the perfect storm for cardiac arrest. Someone had been systematically replacing my medication with pills designed to trigger the exact episode I'd experienced. And if I'd collapsed somewhere without immediate medical attention, somewhere like my apartment alone, or in my car, I would have died. My doctor asked if I felt safe at home. I told him I wasn't sure anymore. He documented everything and said he was legally obligated to report this to the police. Medical professionals have to report suspected poisoning cases. I asked him to wait 24 hours. I needed to handle something first. I drove home with the report in my passenger seat. My parents' car was in the driveway. My brother's beat-up sedan was parked behind it. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, staring at the house where I grew up, trying to understand how it had come to this. When I walked inside, they were all in the living room. My brother looked up from his phone. My parents were watching television. A normal evening. Except nothing was normal anymore. I placed the toxicology report on the coffee table. I told them what the doctor had found. I told them about the empty allergy pill packages. I told them that the police would be involved by tomorrow because my doctor was legally required to report attempted poisoning. My brother went white. My mother gasped. My father stood up. Then my brother started laughing. Actually laughing. He said it was just a prank. He'd swapped a few pills to mess with me, make me feel a little off, get back at me for being such a tight ass about him using my stuff. He didn't think it would actually hurt me. He didn't know I'd collapse. It was just a joke that went too far. I asked him about the beta blocker. His smile faltered. He claimed he didn't know what I was talking about. But his eyes shifted to our parents, and I saw something pass between them. A look, quick and guilty. My mother started crying. She begged me not to involve the police. It would ruin his life. He'd made a mistake. He was sorry. Boys do stupid things sometimes. Couldn't we just handle this as a family? My father joined in. He said I was overreacting. My brother was going through a hard time. Getting the police involved would destroy any chance he had of getting back on his feet. People make mistakes. Family forgives family. I looked at my brother. I asked him directly if he was sorry. He shrugged and said he guessed so. He didn't mean for me to actually get hurt. It was supposed to be funny. I asked him where he got the beta blocker. Another shrug. He said he found some old pills in the medicine cabinet from when Dad had high blood pressure years ago. He'd just thrown a few in to see what would happen. To see what would happen. Like I was a science experiment. Like my life was a variable he could test. My mother grabbed my arm. She begged me to think about the family. If this got out, people would talk. Our reputation would be destroyed. My brother would never recover from this. Couldn't I just forgive him this once? Wasn't that what brothers did? I pulled my arm away. I told them I'd almost died. I told them that if I'd been driving when I collapsed, I could have killed someone else too. I told them that this wasn't a prank or a mistake. This was attempted murder, whether my brother intended to kill me or not. My father's voice turned cold. He said I was being dramatic. Nobody tried to murder anyone. It was a stupid joke with bad consequences. If I called the police, I'd be the one tearing this family apart. Could I live with that? I looked at the three of them. My brother sullen and defensive. My parents desperate and angry. Not one of them had asked if I was okay. Not one of them had expressed genuine remorse for what I'd been through. They just wanted me to keep quiet and pretend it never happened. I told them the doctor was calling the police tomorrow regardless of what I wanted. That was out of my hands now. But I was also done. Done with the excuses. Done with protecting people who'd literally endangered my life. Done with being the responsible one while my brother faced no consequences for anything. My mother started sobbing harder. My father told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. My brother called me a selfish prick who'd always thought he was better than everyone else. I went to my room, packed a bag, and left. I called my friend who'd been in the ER with me and asked if I could stay on his couch for a while. He said yes without hesitation. The police contacted me the next day. They came to my friend's apartment, took my statement, collected the evidence I'd saved, and got copies of the medical records. The detective told me this was serious. Tampering with medication was a felony. Given that I'd been hospitalized and nearly died, the charges would likely include assault with intent to cause bodily harm at minimum. My parents called 17 times that day. I didn't answer. My brother sent texts calling me a traitor and a snitch. I blocked his number. The police arrested my brother 3 days later. My parents hired a lawyer immediately. The lawyer tried to argue it was a prank gone wrong, that there was no intent to seriously harm. But the presence of the beta blocker complicated that defense. That showed planning. That showed an intent to create a specific dangerous medical situation. The prosecutor offered a plea deal. My brother could plead guilty to felony reckless endangerment and serve 18 months with probation. The alternative was going to trial on attempted assault charges that could mean 5 to 10 years. My parents begged me to talk to the prosecutor, to ask for leniency, to make a statement about what a good person my brother really was. I refused. My father called me dead to him. My mother said I'd broken her heart worse than my brother ever could. My brother took the plea deal. He's currently serving his sentence. I've been told he's angry, that he blames me for everything, that he insists it really was just a joke and I overreacted. I moved into my own apartment across town. I changed all my passwords and my phone number. I told my few relatives who reached out exactly what happened and let them make their own judgments. Most sided with my parents. A few told me they understood but wished I'd handled it privately. Only my grandmother said I did the right thing. I see a therapist now. Turns out almost being murdered by your sibling does a number on your ability to trust people. I still take my heart medication, but I keep the bottle in a locked safe now and I count every single pill. My cardiologist says my heart is stable, but the psychological effects of the trauma have caused anxiety that sometimes mimics the symptoms I experienced before. I don't talk to my parents. They've made it clear that choosing to hold my brother accountable was choosing to abandon the family. In their view, I'm the one who destroyed everything. Not my brother who poisoned me. Not them for trying to cover it up. Me, for refusing to stay silent. Sometimes I wonder if I should have handled it differently. If there was a way to get justice without losing my entire family. But then I remember my brother's face when I confronted him. The indifference. The casual cruelty. The complete lack of understanding that he'd nearly killed me. And I remember my parents' faces. The desperation to protect him at any cost. Even at the cost of my life. Even at the cost of the truth. I made the right choice. Family isn't supposed to poison you and then ask you to keep quiet about it. Family isn't supposed to value one son's freedom over another son's life. Real family doesn't work like that. I'm building a new life now. New friends who actually give a damn if I live or die. New boundaries that I enforce without guilt. A new understanding that blood doesn't excuse attempted murder and love doesn't mean accepting abuse. My brother gets out in 8 months. My parents have already asked if I'll come to a family dinner when he's released. They want us to reconcile. They want to move forward and heal. I told them no. There's no healing from this. There's no reconciliation with people who thought my life was worth less than their comfort. There's no going back to a family that would rather I died than hold one of their own accountable. I'm done keeping quiet. I'm done protecting people who try to kill me. I'm done being the good son who sacrifices everything to keep the peace. The doctor's pale face when he saw that toxicology report haunts me sometimes. But what haunts me more is knowing that if he hadn't legally been required to report it, if I'd kept quiet like my parents wanted, my brother would have faced no consequences at all. And maybe, someday, he would have tried again. I chose myself. I chose my life. And I'd make that same choice every single time. If you'd like to see more stories like this, a gentle tap on the subscribe button would mean the world to us.